Hello, hello. Wasa how are you? Here I am in the same clothes again in a different video. Today we're going to be talking about my November TBR, which is already ongoing because I'm recording this video late. But um, anyway, I am participating in two readathons for November. Indigathon, hosted by Michelle and Brody, @2Brody, and Thor Wants Another Letter on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. And then the Middle Earth Road Trip Readathon hosted by my friend Jackie. And I already tried, full disclosure, I already tried recording this video talking about both readathons and what my selections are for both, but it was like a mess. It was like breaking my brain. So I think what I'm going to do is focus on my Indigathon picks and then maybe talk about how they fit into the other readathon, or I might just save it for my an Instagram post because it just was not working. It was just really not working for me. Okay, so starting from the beginning. Indigathon is a really great month-long readathon hosted in November. I think last year was the first year that they did it. I could be wrong about that, but it might be that year or the year before. I'm not sure. But it includes just these prompts to read Indigenous literature all month, which is really great. And there's Instagram challenges and YouTube challenges, and I think there's a tag, and there's a big giveaway, and all this kind of stuff. And it's really great because they've really engaged people. And there's also a group book for the month. And I'm really excited about the group book because it is one of my favorite books, and I'm going to start with it. It's Heartbeat Braves and by Pamela Sanderson, which I'm pretty sure is a pseudonym. But anyway, this is an Indigenous romance. I read it last fall, and if anyone knows me, I've been like pushing this book on people. Like whenever I talk to people or they're looking for romance recommendations, I just push it on people. And a while back, a couple months back, Brody and Michelle were looking for recommendations for a more lighthearted Indigenous book to choose for their group book, and which is totally fair. And this is actually a good year for more lighthearted books anyway. But I was like strongly pushing this book, so I'm really, really excited that they chose it. It's a 4-book series, and the last book in the series is my favorite book, but the whole series is just so great, and it's just so great to see. I don't know, I'm not going to get into it because I'm actually going to this month, because this is the group book for Indigathon in November. I am decided to my November Indigenous genre recommendation video about Indigenous romance. So I'm going to search far and wide and find all the Indigenous authored romance books I can find and put together a recommendation video for you this month. And that's me committing to it. Anyway, so this is the group book. I'm hoping to read it this month, but I'm not going to put too much pressure on myself because I have already read it. And so I'm going to try and focus on the rest of my TBR. It also fits a couple categories for the other readathon that I'm doing, the Middle Earth Road Trip readathon. I might just put that in the description below, like what my choices are for this, but I think it was a powerful friendship group, cozy vibes, and comfort food. And I think I will put it in the description because the Middle Earth Road Trip readathon does like, it's really like a road trip where you're like hitting different spots on the map. So they like actually name different places in Middle Earth and associate a prompt with that place. And this year's theme, I think, has to do with food, like a food tour. Okay, so this fits 3 prompts for me for that readathon. Going back to the top, it is a bingo board. I'll post a link to it in the description, but it's a bingo board and they have it laid out that way. And so the first one that I have written down is Intersectional, so a book that is intersectional. And the book that I choose is Love After the End, which is a anthology that came out this month or last month if you're in Canada, I think. And it's edited by Joshua Whitehead, and it's sci-fi, that futuristic / sci-fi book stories. Okay, wow. Let me start over. It's Indigenous LGBTQ sci-fi stories. Sci-fi and dystopian. Or just dystopian. Stories. Anyway, wow, I'm not good at describing things. I think I've said that before, but anyway, so I chose that for intersectional because it is Indigenous and it is also LGBTQ. It also works for the Middle Earth Road Trip Readathon because it's a science fiction book by an Indigenous author. One of the prompts is a BIPOC authored one, and Own Voices Queer Romance. And I haven't flipped through it, but I think I'm going to see if there's non-binary author in the collection. I'm about halfway through it. I actually started it in October, and it is really good so far. Next is Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer. This is for the prompt New to Me. She's an enrolled member of the Potawatomi Nation, and this is her. It's Indigenous wisdom, scientific knowledge, and the teachings of plants. And I've never read an Indigenous science book, which I'm really excited about, just to get that perspective. It's also the pick for the Feminist Book Club, which I am an affiliate for. So if you want to sign up, there's a link in my Instagram bio and a discount code. So I will be reading it and discussing it with that group and choosing it for Indigathon. So that's great. Next, I have The Roundhouse and Shadow Tag. By the time this video is posted, I definitely know I will be done with the Shadow Tag, by Louise Erdrich, who is an Anishinaabe author. These two books fit for not from one of the 5 civilized tribes and buddy read, because I am reading these both for the read along that me and Danny from @ThunderbirdWomenReads host. And this is our November book, and this is our October book, which we will be discussing next weekend. And this one we will probably be discussing the second weekend in December, probably. That seems to be the trend, is the second week of the month. For the other readathon, this would fit for a female author. Read a book by a female author. So anyway, so this one's actually really interesting. This was the first Erdrich book I've ever read, so I'm really excited to be revisiting it. It's really special to me. So those are that. The next book that I will be reading is How I Survived 4 Nights on the Ice for the middle grade prompt. This book I got via NetGalley, and it's being published by Inhabit Media, which is an Inuit-owned publishing company in Canada, which is really cool. So it actually would work for the reading outside the US prompt as well. So I'm excited about that. I think it might be a graphic novel. I'm not actually sure, but it is a true story. It's a true story about the author. It's a story, the author's story of survival. So I'm excited about that one. Thank you to the publisher, Inhabit Media, and to NetGalley for that one. I should also say that for Love After the End, I am expecting a review copy in the mail, but I also got an e-copy from that publisher as well, whose name is escaping me right now, but I will put it in the description down below. And since I talked about it, the book that I'll be reading for the not US prompt is Song of Batoche by Batoche? Wow. Batoche? Batoche. I don't know how to say it. But it's by Maia, Caron, who's a Métis author, and it is a historical fiction. I talked about it in my historical fiction video, but it comes out of Canada, and I've been meaning to read it for, I think, 2 years now. When I was a Raven Reads rep, it was the, I think, first book that I got out of the rep. So I've had my eye on it for a while. The other book I will be reading is not this entire collection, but I will be reading Wild Seed. I don't know if you have like eagle eyes, you can read this. But I'm going to be reading, contains, Seed to Harvest contains all the novels in this series, and so I'm going to be reading Wild Seed for this month because it is the selection for the Octavia E. Butler Slow Read Along, and it is also fulfilling the prompt from the Middle Earth Road Trip Readathon, which is a science fiction book by a BIPOC author. And so I'm really excited to read more Butler. The last definite book that I want to get to is Older Sister, Not Necessarily Related by Jenny Haejun Wills, which is a memoir. It's the last memoir I have to read for the transracial adoption read along that Jessie from Black Girl Reading had hosted in the beginning of the year. And I'm reading late. So this is the last one I have to read, and it is a transracial adoption memoir from the author who was adopted from South Korea to Canada. So I'm excited about that. I already started it. It kind of has a poetic feel to it, I think, like really beautiful writing. So I'm excited. I'm excited for all of these. I don't know why I keep saying that. I have a couple other like ebooks that I want to try and get to. Like I definitely, before the end of 2020, I want to read The Boneshard Daughter and also maybe Nofet Gloss. Anyway, so that was my kind of messy reading plans for November. I'm hoping to get through all of those. We will see. I am doing this play and I have other play readings and recordings and voice work things to do, and so I'm a little overwhelmed, but I think it'll all be fine. Anyway, tell me what your reading plans are. Tell me how your reading plans are going, because we are, I believe, midway through the month or third way. I don't know. Time isn't real. It's a social construct. But tell me, how's it going? Did you have things you wanted to read this month? And are you succeeding? Or are you feeling good about it? Or crappy? I don't know. Anyway, I hope you're all well. Suyet plus 15. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.